we're kicking off. Is this sideways? Whoa! There we go, Courtney. See, guys, you can totally be a mess and do this job. You know what I mean? We are live. We're kicking off. It's kind of weird light going on over here. We're kicking off tonight. I'm so excited, you guys. Woo, right on time too, which is amazing because we just had our team call, and I love my people. You guys will love my people. You'll love the people. And so sometimes that can go over time because we just love hanging out. But we didn't, which is so fun. And so I'm super excited to chat with you guys a little bit about my story, get to know you, share who I am, where I come from. This light is driving me nuts. When you become a coach, you kind of get really concerned about lighting. And so I'm gonna move this. Let's see if this is better over here. That's a little bit better. Let me find a chair now. Sorry guys, thanks for bearing with me. Hey Whit! So glad you're on. Whit is a rock star in our boot camp. Just gonna let you know that. So that's better. That's a better lighting than that weird thing going on over there. Okay, so if you guys want to comment below that you're on, give me some love so that I know I'm not alone. Okay, I'm so excited to get started. Let's dive right in because I don't want to keep you guys too long, or if you're watching the replay, I don't want it to be like forever long. And I could go on and on about this job and my story, so let's just get started and keep it kind of short. I'll try to do my best. So for those of you guys that don't know me, my name is Courtney. Hi, hello, welcome. Let's see, I am 28 years old. I have no kiddos yet. Praying those forward, just like I did my husband, and God totally answered, so I'm believing for an answer and a miracle. I am a wife to a basketball player. He plays all over the world, literally all over the world. We've lived in like 7 different countries since we've been married for almost 2.5 years. We got married in March 2015, so we're coming up on our 3rd wedding anniversary. And I met him online. So there's a fun fact. He actually found me on Instagram through a mutual friend, thought I was cute, praise the Lord, and sent me a request to follow. And so I was like, who's this guy? Super cute. So I sent one back and we started talking, and he kind of hit me with a line from the very beginning, was like, your heart for the Lord is really encouraging. And I was like, where have you been my whole life? So we got everything between us happened really fast. Hey Naomi, so glad you could pop on. Guys, I'm sorry if I sound really nasally. It sounds annoying to me, but I'm a little bit sick, so I apologize. Actually, I'm just getting over being sick. So everything happened really fast for us. We met and got married within a year, and it was totally the Lord. I am so thankful for my husband. And so his job, originally we moved to Sydney, where he was playing for his hometown. That was when we were dating and when we got engaged. And when I moved there, I had been working previously for my church, and I absolutely loved it. I was the children's ministry coordinator. Ministry is in my heart. I worked for summer camps. Hey, Allison, I'm so glad you're on. Thanks for commenting. You guys comment. I can't see who's jumping on. So if you comment below that you're on, I can tell who it is, and I can talk to you, which is fun. Breathing and talking is quite difficult multitasking when you're sick, so excuse me if I sound like I'm gasping for air. I am. But, okay, so we moved to Australia, and during that time, I had to transition from, okay, so kind of backing up. Before I met my husband, I was living at home. I had gone to a private Christian college that I absolutely loved, but it cost a fortune, and I walked away with a lot of student loan debt, and I didn't quite understand at that point in my life what that would mean for my future and what that would mean as far as limitations went. And so I was quite devastated. The year after I graduated, I went to teach English in China. And that was my first year fully living overseas and not being around family. And I learned so much, but I wanted to continue doing that. I wanted to continue doing ministry, which is what I was doing there. I was technically an English teacher, but we were doing it with the hope of having conversations about who Jesus is. And so that was my heart. But because of student loans, I couldn't defer them another year. I had no other choice but to move home. And I didn't have an income, and even the job that I found with the church didn't provide enough income for me to live on my own. I literally lived paycheck to paycheck. So when people say they don't have money, I get it. I did not have money. And that's why I am so passionate about what I do now, because for several years in my life, money dictated everything. It dictated what I said yes to, what I said no to, what I couldn't do. It was the deciding factor in almost everything. Friends' weddings, trips that my parents were going on that I was invited to but I couldn't afford, trips that friends were going on, the desire to want to travel, the desire to want to even live on my own, not at my parents' house. There were so many little things that I just needed, I needed extra money, and I was so frustrated with money. And so I made a decision at that point that if I was ever given the chance, I would choose to not let money stop me ever again. And I would work my butt off, to make sure that money was not a deciding factor for me. So fast forward, and I meet my husband, at that point my boyfriend, and he was going to Sydney, and I said, let's stay in the same city. So I moved to Sydney. That was a crazy God story in and of itself as far as the visa process and finding a job. I had no money in my bank account after the move, and it took me like 6 weeks to 8 weeks to find a job. And when I found one, it was an amazing opportunity. Like, it was kind of in my mind what I imagined doing as a young adult, like the high city life. Like, I literally worked in downtown Sydney. I had a view out of my window of the Harbour Bridge and the Opera House. So it was very much kind of the status that you would imagine, when you graduate college, you're like, live the city life. That was what it was. I had a 45-minute to an hour commute by train into the city to make that happen. And while it was great income, it was just enough to cover the basis. You know what I mean? Like, I covered my rent, I covered my groceries, I covered, all the X's and O's. And I loved the coworkers. I really did. I wasn't really too crazy about the job I did. I just kind of did odd and end projects, and there didn't seem to feel like there was a purpose behind my work, and that's what I was missing. At this point, I had become very passionate about health and fitness because I was living overseas, and while I was in China, I hadn't handled that very well. I had gained quite a lot of weight, and so I was committed to, when I move overseas again, this is not going to be what hinders me, and I have this boyfriend, and I want to marry him, so I gotta look good, right? And so I was on a mission, and I had actually, if you guys have ever heard of Kayla Itsines, however you say her last name, her bikini body guide. So at that point, that had just come out and it was popular, and so I got my own little BBG Instagram, and I was like, cool, I'm gonna do this and it's gonna be awesome. But over time, I started, hey Sarah, so glad you could pop on. I started realizing that this was my passion. Like, I really enjoyed taking a picture of my food and talking about how healthy it was. And then I would do that. Like, I would go to the gym before work. So I literally left at like 4:30 a.m. to get to the gym, to get to work on time at 7 a.m. And I would grind all day until about 6 or 7 p.m. at night. And then I would take the train home. And so there was very limited time. And so I became really passionate about health and fitness at this time. And I found myself checking into my health and fitness Instagram, which had like 2 followers. It was like my parents, but I didn't care. I was following all these cool people. I would check in there more often than I did answer my emails or do my day job. And I realized this is something I love. Like, I love what Kayla did for me. She helped me find confidence. She helped me build a lifestyle, even though I don't know her personally. Obviously, I just used her guide, which is another reason why I love what we do, because it's much more personal. There was a change in my life because of her influence. And I said, that's what I want to do. How on earth do I do that? Like, can I make an income doing that? Like, I want to travel the world. I don't want to be stuck in an office. I hated office work. Like, I was in a little cubicle, and while I had the beautiful view of the bridge, I couldn't stand going to an office every day. A lot of times at that point, my now husband, my boyfriend, was having an opposite schedule of me, and he lived at his parents' house and I lived in my own home, and I didn't have a car. So literally our time to see each other was so small, so minute. And I said, this is not what life was created to be. God did not give me life so that I could just grind away to pay for my student loan bills. That's how I felt, and I didn't want that anymore. At this point, my now mentor reached out to me on my BBG account, and she said, hey, you're like doing everything I do as a coach. You're on your health and fitness journey. You're positive. You're encouraging people, but you're not getting paid for it. Like, have you ever considered this? And I had no idea who she was. So I was like, okay, salesy, like not my thing. It wasn't really salesy though. She was actually just asking a question. I was just like, I don't know who this is. So I just kind of ignored it. But she kept messaging me and I was like, who is this chick? And I just remember going to her page and connecting so much with who she was. And that's what I loved about it. She was real. She was honest. She's a Christian like I am. She was living the life that I saw for myself in 3 to 5 years, and she was living it now. She was at the beach with her kiddos on in the middle of a work day, and I was sitting there answering emails like, why can't that be me? And I was jealous. I was so jealous of her. But I realized as I paid attention to her post after post, I realized that everything she was talking about, everything that she created for her life was what I wanted. And so, she had messaged me about the time I was in Australia. I was planning a wedding. It was chaos. So I know one of the questions on the post that I posted earlier was, how long did it take for you to say yes? It took me 6 months, and I regret all of those 6 months because I wish I had started sooner, honestly. I didn't know what this job would be. I didn't know how much I would love it or that I would even be good at it. But I do love it. I am great at it. And so I wish that I had started sooner. Simple as that. So I did. It took me 6 months of chatting back and forth and then finally being in a place where I was now married. We were going to move to New Zealand. I was phasing out of my job in the next 3 months. So I wanted to build something that I could do to cover my student loan payments. That was my number one reason for signing, not my number one reason, that's not the way to say it. My number one financial reason for starting as a coach was because I was phasing out of work, even though I had work for a couple more months, and I needed to cover my student loan payments. At that time, my husband was still fresh in his career, so he was still working his way up as far as income goes. But more importantly, I felt responsible for my student loans. My husband had no debt coming into the marriage, and I was like, okay, cool. So you work hard and I'll just be over here sitting at home eating my cookies and you pay for my student loans. Like, that just didn't sit right with me. That's not who I am. My parents both worked growing up. I was raised to work hard and to build for myself. Even like if something were to happen to my husband, I wouldn't want to have nothing. And so I said yes to coaching. So that's how I was introduced to it. Some random girl on Instagram. Hello, that's who I am in your life, hopefully. Hopefully I'm not that random. Hopefully you guys kind of know me, at this point. But I just saw her talk about what I wanted in my life. She was living out what I was looking for, financial freedom. She was living out time flexibility. She was living out, debt-free and being able to be a mom. And that's what I desire so much. I wanted to be a mom one day and not have to worry about like kids going to daycare here, husband going over there and me over here and stress. And then all of a sudden we get like 2 hours at night to connect and then it's all over and we do it again. I couldn't live that way. I didn't want to live for vacations. I didn't want to live for those small moments. I believe that we were given a purpose. I believe that I was meant to do more with my life than just pay bills. And that's really where my story started. So if you guys have questions as we go, please feel free to ask them. I'm going to try and keep up with them. But that's where my story started. So why I said yes to this business in particular, I had been approached by other people, Arbonne, and other companies and that kind of thing. But the thing about what I do with Beachbody is it is not a trend. Health and wellness, health and fitness is something that every single person needs, and every single person will always need. There will never be a device or a robot or some sort of invention that will be able to work out or eat for you. It's a people business, and that is never going to change. So I felt like, one, there's job security there. So that's good. Number 2, Beachbody is a very successful business company, has created amazing workout programs that I had tried at one point, like back in the day, Insanity, and Shanti killed me. And so I knew that they were reliable in that sense, but I also knew they were just beginning and they were going to get bigger. So as some of you guys might have seen on my page, we did just recently launch to the UK. We launched to Canada about a few years ago, and so we're consistently growing. There is literally endless potential as far as the people that we get to reach and the communities that we get to enter and really transform that health and wellness side of things. So I felt confident in that. Another thing, and I'm going to talk more about concerns and like fears and that kind of thing tomorrow, because I definitely had my fair share of them. But the biggest reason for me for why I said yes to this is, one, I was already living a health and fitness journey. I already was working out. I was already trying to eat right, even though I had no clue how to eat. Like these programs specifically transformed all of my nutrition. But I was already working out. I had been raised an athlete, and so being an athlete, I really missed being on a team. I missed that community, that camaraderie, pushing one another and challenging one another and being around like-minded women who got me and pushed me and, had the same drive and motivation as I did. And so that community aspect of coaching was a huge draw for me. I really wanted to be a part of something again. And then the boot camp concept of where every single month we're hosting online boot camps where we get to create that culture and that community and that fit squad mentality of like, we're in this together, team oriented. Culture is what I wanted and what I wanted to be a part of and what I wanted to create. So for me, why I'm a coach is because I believe that I was built for more. I had a bigger purpose for my life than just paying bills. I hated where I was at as far as finances, as far as time, as far as like what I was actually doing day to day. And I wanted to change that. And this was my opportunity to immediately impact that. Within a few months, just 2 months, I was able to cover my student loan payments of upwards of $500 just with my coaching income, which is just such a blessing to see that result happen right away as a coach. For me and Josh, like to know that as I was phasing out of my job, the jobs overlapped. So I did work 2 jobs at one point. For those of you girls that do have a day job that you can't give up right now, that's normal. Most coaches start that way. I had 2 jobs at one point, and to see that financial kind of breathing room happen within 2 months of hard work. And it is hard work. I'm not going to lie to you guys about that. It's hard, but it's so worth it. It's just, I love it. So seeing that payoff happen in 2 months, that was huge for us. So financially, I wanted to provide for the student loans. And long term, I had this vision of building an amazing ministry. That was my heart. For years, I have been wanting to tell women how beautiful and loved and special and unique and gorgeous they are, apart from the scale, apart from, the cookies. I love cookies, I wanted to pour into people. I felt like I had a story. I felt like I had gifts that were not being used, and I wanted to use them for the kingdom. And so when I sat down to really say yes to this opportunity, I prayed about it a lot. Hey, Shelby, I'm so glad you're on here. I prayed about it a lot, and I said, Lord, I don't want to do this. I don't want to step into this unless you are in it. So if I'm going to do this, it's going to be a ministry. I will not post things that will cause me to focus on me and not on the ministry that you're doing through me. I will not pursue the success, the shiny objects, the finances, the status, the rank over and sacrifice my ministry and my ability to make your name greater. I won't do that. So there was things that I set up where I said, this is going to be a ministry. I love the Lord, and that is the first and foremost priority. None of my other, apart from my Christian working for the church, My jobs didn't allow me to include my faith, but this could. I had creative freedom as a coach to build something that I would believed in, that I was passionate about, that literally lit my soul on fire every single day to post about the Lord and have that freedom and to talk about the things that are changing in me and how I love just myself, and I've never done that before. That was so important to me. I wanted that in a job. Like, I spend the majority of my time doing a job. I might as well love what I do. And I do. The social media aspect of it, I love it. I love posting my story. I love connecting with women who needed that seed of hope that I had in my story. I love when someone says to me, I did it this week. I worked out every single day and I've never done this my whole life. Like, that brings tears to my eyes. I love when a girl comes to me and she says, today I looked in the mirror and I loved myself because you chose to say yes to this. That's why I coach now. That's why I said yes, because this was a ministry opportunity, an opportunity for me to take my past hurts, my past struggles, my past failures, and turn them into, and have God turn them into from ashes to beauty, and to be able to tell women, I've been there, I was there, you can be free of that. Or I have hated myself before, and I promise you, you can learn to love yourself. And I needed that just as much as anyone else did. Like, as a coach, I needed that far more. I needed to learn to love myself more than I could teach anyone else. I needed to grow in my own health and wellness more than anyone else, in mindset, in belief in what God can do through me, which this business will test that. Without a doubt, this business will test how much do you trust me, Courtney? Do you trust me to provide financially? Do you trust me to provide the right people for your team to mentor, the right people in your boot camps to love? Do you trust me? So for me, that's why I love sharing this. I love going live with you guys because you can hear my heart. You can see me. You can see the tears in my eyes. You can see me. This is me. This is the real me. There's no sales in this. I'm not interested in convincing you that this is for you, because honestly, you and I both will be miserable if you say yes to something and it's not for you. And I pour into my team, so I don't want to be miserable. I love what I do, and I love the team we've created. So if this is, if I have to convince you, I don't want you on the team. And if you think it's sales or that it's, just about the income, then I also don't want you on the team. So that's what I want to share with you guys. The reason that I said yes is because my heart aches for the women out there who don't know how beautiful they are, who don't know how to take care of their bodies, who don't know how to believe and win their mindset so that they truly believe when their husband tells them they're beautiful, that they are beautiful. Because that was me. I didn't believe it. And it caused it caused distance in our marriage, where I was like, don't touch me. I'm like uncomfortable. I'm insecure. Like, no, I get to fix that. I get to be on the front lines of that. This is going a lot longer than I anticipated. So I hope that answers your guys' question as far as what my story is, why I said yes. I said yes because I wanted the financial freedom. I wanted to build a 6-figure plus income years down the road so that I can be able to stay home with my babies. I don't want to do any other job ever again. I love this. I love connecting with people on social media. I love sharing my heart. I love the ministry aspect and the creative freedom that you have as a coach. And as far as like posting on social media, it took a while for me to get comfortable with that. To this day, it's still kind of like, gosh, there's a lot of pictures of you, Court, on Instagram. Courtney, like I'll look at my Instagram feed and it's a lot of me and whatever. But I fought to be okay with that because I know that through the words, I'm speaking into souls that are so thirsty for truth and so thirsty for hope. So that's why I love this job. That's why I said yes. I hope this answers your questions. If you guys have any questions specifically about anything I shared about tonight, I would love for you to comment them below, or even just what you learned about me that you didn't know before. And also, I just want to clarify, if you are not, religious or a Christian or anything, that is by no means something that should hold you back from this community. I don't cry all the time. We don't talk about Jesus all the time. Obviously, I am what I attract. So I do attract a lot of women who love the Lord, but it's not mandatory. You don't have to want to do a ministry with this business to be successful or to even do it. So I want to just give you the freedom to not count yourself out if that doesn't connect with you. But I also want to encourage that if that connects with you, you're going to feel so at home. So of course, Hillary, thanks so much for being live with me, you guys. I'm super pumped for those that are going to enjoy the replay. Shoot me any questions or comment them below, and I'll look forward to connecting with you guys tomorrow. Super excited to talk about like my fears and assumptions that I had before getting started. Bye, guys.